Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in for another session. Hello, Fabian.
Hello, Keshin. How are you?
So today I want to cover, since the new year is coming, I want to cover the new year resolution, like everybody trying to change or have something that they want to change, or they something different for next year. So what is your take on that?
And so you mean what my resolution is, or what am I thinking of the general doing a
So
resolution?
yeah, so do you have a new year resolution, and do you have a plan of action that would make it successful?
Yeah, so at the end of the year, every time I reflect on upon that year which happened, and I try to compartmentalize it into four sections, which is spring, summer, autumn, and winter, and see how things went. And also I try to give my year a sort of title, like a book title or a chapter title, like yeah, what's been the say major thing I worked on. So I always go with the sort of Buddhist word paramis, and for me this year was nikama, right, which means being refrained from any substances, and yeah, working on my sobriety and not indulging in any intoxication substance, whatever. And also with that comes atitana, which is, you have an aim and you work towards it, right? I know you know that, but I'm just saying it for the audience. And then so yeah, and also yeah, virya, which is effort. So that's been sort of the chapter of the year. And yeah, so I've worked on that. And for next year it is I think it is more also another parami, which is satya, right, which is honesty, and working on my right speech. I think that is a thing which I want to cover, and which is Ayakema said that, right? She said that this is a precept, um, or the factor of the Noble Eightfold Path which we break the most, actually, in, yeah, not being honest, or like saying things at the wrong time, or saying things in the wrong way, which is harmful to the other person. And so I think this is communication is one of the most important things in life in general. I find between relationship and whatever, it's really crucial to have a good communication skill, and right speech does come with it. So that is my say spiritual aim. And of course, yeah, doing more sports and working on the physical body, because if the body is fine, the mind comes with it and is more naturally calm, and then meditation works better. So that is my aim, and to maintain what I have done this year, like to stay away from any substances. So yeah, that's my take on my New Year's resolution, and I find it important to have one, actually. So it's not going to be it's not a thing which I got told in my childhood too well. It's been something you can do and you wish for, and basically either God or the universe is going to you know whatever, help you in that or not. So that's what I got taught, but it's not really being something serious in my childhood. So but now I'm like, okay, I try to have an aim, a focus, and I try to have a reminder and an anchor. So yeah.
Mm. Well, you've covered quite a few there, but you touch on a few important points. Um, New Year resolution is something that is within our control, right? It's not so much. Yes, we wish, but we should always try our best. And one of your New Year resolution, right? Speech is a very important one, a great one. And to
Mhm.
me, most of the time, right speech is no speech. Okay.
Yeah. No, but
Right.
silence is the right speech. That's right.
Because we have to be silent more in order to be a good listener. And also to be, when we are silent, then we have more of time to respond rather than spontaneous reaction, spontaneous talking, because when we are too spontaneous react, we react out of our precondition, right? We don't have time to reflect on the new perception or the new program that we want to change. So, so we have to identify with new resolution. It's hard in the sense that it's required quite a self-awareness, right? We need to know what is it that we want to update, right? What is it that is old? What is it in ourselves that doesn't work? And then we have to find a way of detecting when it's running. And then
Yes, and we gotta be honest to ourselves too, right?
it's massive honesty to ourselves, because who are we? There's no room to change if we are not honest, right? We just keep on the old system running if we are not honest. So yeah, so just right speech, for example, we need to know what we're taking in, because right speech means communication, right? First, we need to able to be quiet enough to let the other person speak their whole story. Sometimes we just jump in halfway and respond to half the story. So we have to be able to be quiet enough, no speech, so the other person tell the full story, tell their full perspective, and then we have to be able to pause and see what is the instant reaction, right? So are we reacting to instant fear? Are we reaction to the old program, how we used to react? How we, like some people just instantly get angry or instantly swear or instantly blame, right? So if we want right speech, then we need to pause and, okay, do we want to do something different? Do we want to respond differently, right? So we, in that instant, how did we used to respond, and what were the reaction, right? If we want to change, we must have already known that our old way of saying things or reacting to things is not working, right? So we must have already pinpoint that. But the catch now is to catch ourselves enough to be able to respond differently. And if you don't know how to respond in a right speech, then it's better to have no speech. Maybe say to the other person, I don't want to say anything I'm going to regret. I'm going to take time out and think about it, and I'll come back to you later. Right? So
Yes, and then we have it again, the honesty, right? The openness and honesty towards the other person, to be transparent enough to tell them that one is not really able to and capable of saying the right words, which you don't regret later on.
yeah.
So yeah, honesty
Yeah.
again.
And also we have to, right speech is also tuning into our body, right? Because when we are very emotional, we're less likely to have right speech.
Yes.
Because our emotions distort our thinking, our emotion distort our rationality, our clarity. So when we feeling that we are very angry, it's not likely we're going to have right speech. Or if we are really sad, or if we are, so
Yeah, I know.
tune into our body and see how we feel. If we are calm and if we have a neutral clarity, then yes, respond from that. But if we are very emotional, then come back later.
Yeah, and to make a resolution this way, I find is to really reflect upon the fact what our communication this year brought us, right? What were the consequences?
Hang on, emergency. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So what I wanted to say was that what a person have to really think about and reflect upon is the results of the words and the actions and the thoughts and the attitude, basically, what happened and what caused damage and whatnot. So if a person sees the consequences of his or her actions toward last year and sees, okay, that doesn't brought me that didn't bring me whatever wealth, that didn't bring me happiness, that didn't bring me calm and peace, that ended up in a bad situation within the relationship. So of course it's not gonna come from falling from sky and heaven and say, oh, see, sky brought us a happy gift and we're gonna live happily forever. No, it's something which you're gonna change, right? Which you, it's in your power basically to change something. So and knowing that and reflecting that, it does help for the next year, what you will, so what you aim for and what you plan, and how your next year gonna be.
The thing is, the thing we all have to remember is, what is reality, right? So it's not important what is right or wrong, right? Sometimes some people have a very strong justice system in their programming. So they would prefer to stick to the rules and be right, stick to the book, and sacrifice and compromise kindness, compromise harmony, compromise peace, compromise kindness, right? So I'm not talking about breaking the rules or not. The wisdom has to come in, but sometimes when it's very minor rules, then you have to consider, are you compromising compassion and kindness for rules, for being right? That's what I'm seeing. Also think about realities, right? So there is no way that anybody would know what is the true reality is, like what is that person true intention is. So even though the person might have negative words coming out, we can also choose to react positively, because it's less important of what's out there than what's more important is what's happening in here, our state of mind. So what I'm saying is, choose to respond in a way that would give you peace, even though it could be right or wrong, right? If you're not sure whether it's right or wrong, then choose to be positive, right? You know what I mean? Even, even right speech. Yesterday, the person didn't treat us right, and today we can choose to be angry and wrong speech, right? But today we can reset, right? We can reset and can choose to think of the person today and not choose to think of the person yesterday. And so our speech would coming in from a space of seeing that person today.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The problem is to generalize the behavior and what the person says uh, um, too much, right? And then we think of the self actually, and you know the non-self
Yeah,
aspect just gets caught out of the
yeah.
way, right?
We let our emotion of yesterday detects what we do today. Most of
Mm.
the time it's like that, a lot of the time like that, and it's very, very hard. But we can practice to not let that happen, not let the past be defining our present.
Yes. Yeah, oftentimes what I know out of my personal experience is like if you get into an argument and into a fight, then yeah, it's basically the pride uh, or the righteousness or the injustice, whatever plays in a person, which does cause a very negative speech and communication actually, and because the pride not to give in and not to compromise and not to this, not to that, and as you said, like sticking to the roots too much, and then you forget about the kindness and peace and the effort to share loving kindness. Yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, that's the reason why I want to go into right speech more and to satya, right? The honesty towards myself. Am I being right or not? Because the pride sometimes kicks in, like, yeah, I'm right. I know it better. I'm this, I'm that, right? And then
mm,
yeah,
mm,
so that's why I chose this aim.
yeah. So ask yourself, like, being right is more important than being compassionate, or sometimes ask the right question would be able to give you guides on what to say. But what I often find helpful is just being silent more. And when we practice observing more, then what come through, people would listen more, because we don't talk. But when we do talk, it's the right words and the right wisdom.
Yeah, it's sort of, yeah, it's more weight onto what you say, right? It's more, I don't know, I know what you mean. It's just really hard for me to put it in words, but it's more like if a person says a lot but doesn't tell anything, right? It's just chattering. But if a person really not talking a lot and then decides with very calm mind and pure intention to say something and to add something to that present moment, then it's very much more impactful, more weight onto these words, right?
Yeah, because you have time to hear what the other person say. You have time to digest and think and have different perspective and run through your options, and then you come out with what you have to contribute.
Yes. So New Year's resolution is something you have in your own hands, right? So that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Uh, we work with what we can control, and we find way to accept with what we can't control. For example, our environment and our economy and what's happening in the world. So that in accepting doesn't mean that we agree. In accepting, there is less resistance.
Yeah.
There is less fight and less disturbance in our mind. And then we work with what we have control of, and that is our thoughts, our feeling, our perception, our behaviors.
Yes. I also find that resisting to something does cost actually quite a lot of energy, right? It is actually a natural reaction to resist to something you don't like and which is negative, and which you didn't ask for. So you resist towards that, but actually to holding on to the resistance does cost energy, right?
Oh,
So
oh yeah, definitely. It's very tiring. It's very
it's very
tiring.
tiring.
Very
But
tiring to fight with somebody or fight with the system. It's very
yes, and it gets you into a bad mood, and it gets you into whatever thoughts, right? And reality also, and then you cling onto it, you hold on to it, that becomes your new reality over time, if you do it too often. And it's actually quite, it does get you away from the actual path, right? So it's very much distraction or delusion and filtering things out. Yeah,
well,
very
that's
stubborn.
if we bring ourselves into the body, into the present moment, that have less of a grip, right? Because we always remind ourselves that this is the present, this is the reality, right? And what is going on in our mind is just fabrication of what is the present. So if
Yeah.
we have the habits of bringing our awareness into the senses and just remind ourselves, what am I seeing? What am I hearing? What am I smelling? Who am I talking to? This is our reality. The reality
Yes.
that is actually happening live is happening right now. But what we resisting the mind in our mind is just mind game, right?
Yeah, and it's very distorted view onto the present moment we are having, right?
Oh yeah, very yeah, very illusory.
Yeah. So sometimes one can maybe tell that, having that distorted view actually, um, you miss the essence of that present moment, the truth, the beauty, also the beauty, what can be, what's actually, maybe
Oh
covering that.
yeah, in distortion, we basically are walking dead, right? We
Yeah.
are not, we are just zombie. We just reacting out of the programs. The program is running you, right? But if we in the present, we actually living life. We living in our senses. We experiencing everything that's come through our senses. But if we are in distortion, then basically we just automatic. We just autopilot. So whatever that is conditioned and programmed in us, we just run that.
Yes, yes. So I totally agree. But doing this New Year's resolution, so how you think, maybe we have only a few minutes left, but how would you suggest to the people, what is the best way to do it, when to do
Well,
it, how often should you remind yourself, which is the best resolution? Maybe you can give some information about that.
well, we covered quite a lot already, but just basically summing up, um, learn the landscape of our mind, learning the landscape of the feelings, and reflect what worked last year and what need to be changed, and identify the thing that really governing our perception and our behaviors is the programming, right? Our belief system, our thinking, our perception. So have a go at that. Have a go at looking at our perception and our beliefs and our thinking, and see whether it can change our feelings, and use our feelings to detect what is happening in our mind. And so whether our resolution is working or not is through those two, right? Because whether our behaviors or what other that we wanted to change is in our feelings and in our thoughts and in our programs and in our attitude and our perception.
Hmm. Yeah, that's very nicely said.
So there's only like 3 minutes to go. So if anybody have a lot of resolution, maybe put one in, and that is to live, right? To live in the now, to capture and to make every moment precious, right? To make that one of your resolution, to live every moment of next year, right?
Yes.
Not letting any moment escape into distortion, fantasy, worry, reliving in the past, right? Really precious, really capture this moment of and really embrace and taking in what the eye is seeing, what the skin is feeling. Really be grateful of the people that is in our life and our support system, you know. Yeah, so that's what I got for New Year resolution.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, I could continue talking about that, but yeah, well, we have our present moment of the time schedule, and that one already gone. Okay, yeah, thank you very much for giving us this great way of seeing the New Year's resolution, and I'm
Yeah,
very happy to looking forward to our next talk, Kishin.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fabian, and thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Bye.